Hi, this is James Gordon October Library here for book review. Today's book I'm reviewing today, The Wolfen by Whitley Strieber. This is his first novel he wrote. This is by William and Morrow Company, published in New York in 1978. This was a reread. I read this book years ago after seeing the film of the same name. The film is good. They changed a lot around with the book though, so I felt the book had a better plot than the film, which I'll explain after my review. But anyway, this was a decent read. It definitely had some really good, creepy, and some very violent moments in this book. I couldn't believe some of the really gory scenes in this book. It was like wow. It was like rejogging my memory when I was reading this book again. I was like, wow, I forgot how violent this book can be. Um, like I said, this is a decent read. There are some things with this book I like, and then there are some things I dislike. Especially the subplot, which I'll explain later on in my review, and some other things I liked and disliked with this book. All right, on to the review. Plot. During a wet, misty autumn morning, two NYPD Auto Squad officers working in the auto pit in for impounded or abandoned vehicles the city brings in scrapping if the owners don't return to collect their vehicles. While out on patrol, they hear loud growling both in front and behind them. Just as they reach for their revolvers, both men are viciously attacked. Their throats are torn open. One officer's hand is ripped off as it's still holding his sidearm. After failing to report back, four officers are sent to the junkyard as it begins raining. They are horrified when they find the two officers have been mutilated and gutted. Closing off the whole junkyard, they call in Becky Naff and George Wilson, two highly trained homicide detectives. Despite the two working together, they don't always get along, but they respect each other as they both share the same views of solving crime. Also join them is Dr. Evans, the medical examiner. While they are examining the dead bodies, Becky and Dr. Evans believe both officers were killed by either wild or trained attack dogs as there are several claw and bite marks. George is skeptical but states it is strange how both men were killed and didn't even get a chance to shoot at their attackers. They collect copies of the crime scene photos to show a dog trainer, Tom Ricker, to see if he can identify what breed of dog did this and if it's possible to train dogs into vicious killers. As Ricker looks over the photos along with the paw prints, he is disturbed by what he sees. He states that no dog breed he knows of could do this and suggests taking the photos to the Natural History Museum as he has a friend who might be able to help them. Becky and George then visit the autopsy to see if Dr. Evans has any leads for them, but he too believes both officers were attacked by dogs. George and Becky accept this theory, but the police commissioner isn't going to believe their theory, and after going over what they have found, they are met with ridicule and insulted. While George is fine with leaving the case closed, however, Becky is furious and refuses to abandon it, believing the killers are still out there, and she continues investigating it on her own. Then in December, a blind man goes missing in a rough part of New York. While George and Becky are searching for him in an abandoned house, Becky hears what sounds like a crying kid, but George calls her down, believing it's a trap, and radios in other officers to join them in the search. When backup arrives, they make a shocking discovery of dead bodies along with claw and bite marks like the two officers killed. This reopens the case as George and Becky are put in charge of solving it while keeping it secret from the public till they find the answers. Going to visit Dr. Carl Ferguson on the paw prints they snapped photos of. While Dr. Carl is going over the photos, he points out it has fingers able to grab or climb along with retractable claws but is unsure what they are dealing with. Before they leave, Becky tells George that she thought she saw a large type of dog or wolf outside of her apartment. George also reveals he saw something too on his way home that looked like a wolf. Whatever it was up there in the abandoned building has followed them as they know that their killers are stalking them. With no leads to go on, Becky decides the only way they're going to solve this case is by getting extra help since the police won't support them. George agrees, knowing their lives are in danger. Ricker, Dr. Evans, and Dr. Carl join them as the department doesn't know anything what George and Becky are doing as it's off the record. While they all agree the killers aren't human, with Dr. Carl believing they are dealing with something that's like a wolf. However, George knows they'll need more and gets Dick, who works in the narcotics, to get them a telescope with a built-in cameras, along with an Ingrid Mac 11 submachine gun, a BAR, and a soft shotgun. Meanwhile, a pack of Wolfen living in the urban decaying area of New York City are stalking and hunting people in New York as they target the homeless, junkies, drug dealers, outcasts, and anyone they believe won't be missed. During a During a snowy night in Central Park, the Wolfen target a homeless man sleeping on the bench and attack all at once. They kill their prey in silence, then bring him over the wall and tear him apart, leaving a bloody mess. However, things begin to go from bad to worse when Dr. Evans is attacked by the Wolfen, as they are hunting anyone who's trying to expose them and are willing to kill anyone who gets in their way. George and Becky become more determined to prove the existence of the Wolfen after finding out the police commissioner has assembled a team to capture the killers and prove it's a cult, not a pack of wild dogs. This will lead to a final assault on Becky's apartment, as the Wolfen will slaughter anyone that poses a threat to them. Will Becky and George be able to get the truth out or end up as the Wolfen's next victims? Wolfen is a dark, very violent, yet decent horror novel, very detailed in both characters and locations, set in the late 70s of NYC, with many old, filthy, and decaying areas of New York during the fall and winter. While the pacing is good, along with many frightening and gory scenes of people being torn apart by these powerful humanoid wolf-like creatures. However, I didn't like the subplot of Becky's husband Dick taking money from gambling ring in order to cover his father's medical bill. Really dragged the story out, and wish Striber didn't add this and focus more on the Wolfen, as I felt more scenes could have been added. I also didn't like how Striber wrote the Wolfen characters and how they talk with each other. This could have been done a lot better, and giving the characters names instead of Old Father and Old Mother. And the final climax could have been ramped up with more carnage, as it felt too short and quick. I also wish Striber wrote a sequel, as the novel ends with a cliffhanger, as I would have liked to see more of the Wolfen attacking New York. As for the film of the same name, it is alright, but it changes too many things around, and I didn't like how it changes the Wolfen from humanoid wolf creatures to native folklore, which had nothing to do with the original story. I still like the novel better despite its flaws. Overall, I recommend Wolfen, as it's a good horror novel for the fans of killer animals along with werewolf. If you're looking for killer wolves attacking people in the big city, then Wolfen is the novel for you. And that's for the review today. Sorry this was delayed. Just one thing after the other just coming up and just kind of got in the way, so that's why this book review was delayed. So, but hey, what can you do when life just likes to throw curveballs at you? You got to deal with them one way or the other. But as for the book Wolfen, rereading again, it was great. There were scenes I had forgotten about, and it was fun reading it. However, despite the things I like with it, there are still some issues I had with it. I really didn't like the subplot with Becky's husband Dick. It just really kind of dragged on the story, and I felt it kind of took me out of the plot of what was going on. And I thought, oh man, I could just envision so many scenes with the Wolfen, like, attacking people and stuff, and more carnage would have been great to see. Like, I was even envisioning in my head, like, what if the Wolfen went to the New York subways and like chased someone during the tunnel, and like they found later the police found a body all torn up and stuff. That would have been really good too. Oh yeah, there was like the other thing I didn't like too was how the two main characters would kind of like argue with each other sometimes, and it just got annoying. I thought, can these two characters really stop arguing with each other? It just got kind of annoying. Like, yes, they have disagreements and stuff, but it just the constant like arguing over the slightest thing. It was just kind of annoying to read that from time to time. It doesn't happen a lot in the book, but when it does, it's just annoying to read. And I was kind of annoyed with the police commissioner character. Like, here's all the evidence pointing out to these people are being killed by like by these Wolfen, and they think it's like some crazed cult that's doing this. And they're gonna, and at the end of the book, they have this police squad, like they have this like teams assembled to like find the answers and stuff. I thought they're gonna find the same answers as Becky and George did. Like, like what difference is it gonna make? But other than that, the book's still good to read. Like, I still enjoyed it. The ending does end with a cliffhanger. I thought, oh man, Whitley Strieber should have wrote a sequel to this book. Like, I was looking at some other books, and he did this vampire series. I thought, you wrote a sequel to that book, but not Wolfen? Come on. Like, I would have loved to see more of the Wolfen stuff. Just a really interesting, like, kind of like humanoid wolf creature. Like, I envision in my head just mostly kind of like wolf-looking beings and stuff. Yeah, yeah, it would have been great if he did do a sequel to Wolfen. Let's see what else. Other than that, I still, despite the book's flaws, I still find it better than the film. Like the film is, it's okay. It's it's well shot. It's got that early '80s NYC look that I really miss and I like. I miss how the city used to look because now it's all squeaky clean and it doesn't have that character anymore. Like that's the thing I love about with the 70s and 80s and even the 90s of New York. It just had that grimy, filthy look, and that gave the city its character. That's what I like. Now it's just like sparkly clean, and it lost that image completely. But the film, it kind of changed a lot around the story. The instead of the humanoid wolf creatures, they're just like wolves and stuff, and it added native folklore, which had nothing to do with the original story. And then and while it takes out the subplot with Becky's husband, they instead add this subplot where this billionaire is like demolishing the abandoned areas to put like these like fancy high-rise living areas, and the Wolfen are attacking anyone that's responsible for it so they can keep their abandoned land and stuff. I thought it doesn't really fit the story. Like the Wolfen are basically they're hunting people to basically stay alive and stuff, and the ending kind of hints that they're gonna kind of go at war with the humans so they can claim the city as their own. That's what I liked. That's what I liked. The film again. It just changed it around and stuff. Oh yeah, and the other thing I don't like with the film Wolfen, when it shows the one I forget what his name. I don't know if he's the character from the book or they added this in the film, but there's this part where this guy is like studying wolves, and it's like showing like footage of like actual wolf footage of like wolves in the wilderness stuff, and then I don't know why they include this in the film, but then it shows the wolves being like hunted and stuff, and it was quite graphic, and I don't like seeing animals being killed in films. It really bugs me, especially if it's actual footage. It really bothers me. I don't like that. Unless there's like a reason for like if a person's being attacked by an animal, they're defending themselves, and or if it's a killer animal, okay, okay, that's fine. Or if you're out hunting for food, okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. As long as it's the animal that you can like eat. But if it's just senseless killing, that I don't like it. It bothers me. So that was the other thing I didn't like with the film Wolfen. And I remember one time I was watching, I skipped that scene because I can't be bothered to watch that kind of stuff. But the as much as the film is okay, but still I find the book better. The only thing I don't like with this, I don't like this cover. Like I like the title text, but I don't like how I have to bring it in because you can't even see this. You got the two main characters walking in like an empty street at night, and then you got the wolf in here, and they really don't look like what Striber describes. This looks like a were bulldog. I'll definitely save this for Good Books with Bad Covers Part 2, which I am planning to doing another top list video soon. Alright, that's it for the book review today. Hope you enjoyed it, and for my next book, I will begin reading The Architect of Sleep by Stephen R. Boyd. I'm looking forward to reading this book. Okay. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group of the same name, a place to post your review fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.